Good morning. It is Friday, March 8th. The update, of course, from my wisdom calendar is rejection tests whether you're serious about your dream. So there you go on that part. And then, of course, everybody wants to know what's going on the calendar over here. And I will just say Happy International Women's Day. So for once, actually a real holiday. Yesterday was National Cereal Day, and prior to that was National Dentist Day, although my brother-in-law is a dentist, so that's an important day for us all, too. Get your teeth cleaned, everybody. Jaron Blake and up and in, or you can get up there anytime you want. Now, we're going to get into all the fun stuff, and we'll start first with, again, if you're on Instagram, you're not seeing any of the things that I actually have up on the screen. For those that are on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, like anywhere else, you can actually see the full screen, but functionality on Ecamm Live does not allow for vertical yet. So anyhow, you guys are just going to listen to me talk about stupid stuff, right, basically. So our weekly rundown, it's going to hit on five things. We're going to talk about LIHTC. We're going to talk about how the government kind of screwed up some forms of affordable housing. We're going to talk about how you definitely wouldn't want to be a part of this family that I'm going to describe. We're going to talk about, unfortunately, divorce. And then we're actually going to do a quiz on your financial IQ. And I took it myself, and damn, I thought I know my financial IQ, and boy, was I wrong. Yeah, prepare yourself to be shocked and awed, I guess. But anyhow, so let's get right into it. But you know the drill. Before we do that, let's have a quick look at the stock market. And as you guys can see, there is a lot of green on that. The only thing really that's up is the 30-year mortgage. The Fed funds rate and the prime rate hasn't changed. We're hoping, of course, that does come down in the second half of this year. But that all is indicative of inflation, jobs reports, all the other macroeconomic things that we really can't control in the real estate and market or just our personal lives. So you'll see that those things have yet to change, but we certainly hope that does come down. Now we're going to get into the poll, and this poll question also serves as a friendly reminder that it is daylight savings this weekend. So get yourself ready. But the poll question was really asking, should we even have daylight savings anymore? Because it was originally created long, long ago when electricity wasn't such a thing. So you actually had to plan your life around, having electric or having the daylight to do your work. Now that we clearly all have electricity, do we really need daylight savings time? I would say in our LinkedIn poll, the majority of people have said absolutely not. I think the last time I checked, about 80% of respondents said we do not need daylight savings anymore. And I would agree with you. Hell, if you just look at the health statistics, there's a lot more people that die of heart attacks as a result of this daylight savings. You get more accidents just because people are kind of groggy when they're driving around. It doesn't make any sense. I'd love for somebody please to show me where this makes sense to continue to have daylight savings. But whatever, hey, I guess the positive side is we're going to get more light in the evening here, which is nice because that tends to be when people aren't working as much. All right, we're going to get into the actual stories of the week. Here's our top five, and the first one is the Foundation for the Affordable Housing gets an extreme makeover home edition, right? LIHTC credits. Low-income housing tax credits. If you're not familiar with it, definitely look it up. It's going to be the only way I see in the future for people to be able to actually build mega apartment complexes in an affordable manner, especially in places like Boston where they require 10 to 20% affordable housing on every single unit. It gets pretty cost prohibitive to try and do anything net new. And so the LIHTC affordable housing program has been around for a long, long time. And this is the first major change that they've had in about 40 years. I think the last time there was a change was 1986. And so this is a significant transformation coming on. Why this is important is this is really the foundation that helps allow for all other forms of affordable housing. And we know affordable housing is a major issue here in the United States. And some in more cities than others, like Boston, we have a major issue. San Francisco, a major issue. Nashville, an issue. New York, an issue. And the changes proposed within the bill, there's about $78 billion tax relief for American families in the Workers Act. And this could actually create an estimated $200,000 of $200,000 new affordable housing units nationwide. That makes a significant boost in fighting against the affordable housing crisis. So we are excited about the changes. You can see the specific changes, like there's a percentage from a 9% to 12.5%, all this stuff. So it does make it more beneficial for people looking to do development in the real estate space to, kind of have a profit for a purpose and help other people have affordable housing. So that was story one. Now we're going to get into something that's more of a negative. Our dear friends in Washington. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. It is funny how inept both parties are sometimes. And so when the White House announced their plan in October of last year to help commercial property owners convert buildings from, a dead office space into affordable housing apartment multifamily units, it sounded like a really, really good idea. But unfortunately, a good idea remains just a good idea if it cannot be properly executed against. And just like everything seemingly in Washington, when we create something, we then put so many different restrictions in place that it becomes so prohibitive that it doesn't actually work. So here's some of the documents that Globe Street, and shout out to them for the review of all these documents. It summarizes the challenges of the program here. First one, the requirements of these buildings that are going to get converted, they need to be within a half mile of a train station or some commuter type rail. It takes forever for the approval process, for like up to 2 years. Think about just the carried interest costs. And then also think, if you're somebody trying to buy, what seller is going to be willing to sit around for 2 years until you actually get it together to do anything? There's strict environmental reviews, and like that, of course, can also delay the process. The credit demands are absolutely absurd. So the project sponsor has to, put all these funds up as their pursuit costs, which we're all familiar with pursuit costs in the real estate space, but this is kind of exorbitant. For example, advisor fees required just at the start for the formal credit review, $250,000. If it runs higher than that, you have to put it up. You have to maintain liquidity of 10% of the total requested loan amount and a net worth of 100% of it at all points in time. They're supposed to have executed a regulatory agreement that states specifically with that state or local municipality what are the specific rents they are allowed to maximum charge. So it is kind of like a rent control situation. So when you put all these restrictions in place, it is no wonder that you are not seeing as much affordable housing. And all we can hope for is that Washington, both Democrats and Republicans, can get it together, figure this out, and collectively recognize that by putting such restrictions in place, you are actually hurting the people you're trying to help the most. And that is people looking for affordable housing. So please, 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 if politician ever watches this, please just wake up and do the right thing for once. All right, so let's get on to a family that I don't think any of you guys would ever want to be a part of. And, luckily for me, there's this element of there's fighting and then there is fighting. And, I'm one of 3 kids. I'm the youngest. But luckily I had a great brother and sister growing up. And, I would say our relationships have been very strong. The only time we probably fought were those stupid sibling things, like my brother was beating me in a PlayStation game, or my sister wanted shotgun in the car, or something like that, like stupid sibling type stuff. So when I tell you this story, this is just going to be like, wow, I really hope that I never am in a family like this ever. And so let me tell you about this family. It's they've got 17,000 apartment units nationwide. It's 5 brothers, and they've been in a dispute now for over 2 decades. 2 decades, 20 years. Dear God, how have you not come to just a better agreement than this? Well, anyhow, this nasty legal battle has been going on for 2 decades plus, and it culminated with Haresh Jagani owning his siblings $2.5 billion in damages, and the 17,000 units that they own from a multifamily perspective across the country had to be split up amongst the brothers. Well, if that doesn't just absolutely destroy your wealth, I don't know what will. But hopefully for you guys, man, I hope you never have to deal with that. And hopefully these siblings can, come to a better solution than this, because this is just mutual demise or mutual destruction. I don't think anybody wins in this situation. All right, well, hey, glad we're not in that family, right? Well, let's get into another thing that's I found rather interesting. What's your financial IQ? And so we all know our IQ and our EQ. And, with the IQ, that's your actual intelligence. And EQ, I actually think is most important with your emotional intelligence of recognizing that not everybody thinks like you, acts like you, and wants to be like you. And it's how you communicate and connect with them on their level that drives the best relationship. Now, there's a new thing called FIQ, which is your financial intelligence quotient. And I put the quiz in on my weekly post. So if you do want to check it out, please do. I actually took it. It was a quick, like 5 or 10 question quiz. I thought I would have scored a 10 out of 10. I didn't. And all I do is talk about personal finance, money, like real estate, things that generally would make sense. So have a look at it. See where you guys rank. Because even if we think we're perfect, if we're being truthful with our answers, there might be still some room for improvement. So I wanted to put it out there. It's a free quiz to take, but definitely check it out and let me know what type of score you get. All right. Then we already talked on one dysfunctional family. Let's get into another dysfunctional thing, which unfortunately occurs about 50% of the time here in the United States. The stats 40 to 50%. And so my wife and I are, happily married. The ring's on this side, and it's date night for us, so that's exciting. Thank God for our mother-in-law coming down to watch the little guy, so we can actually get away. And so, and we've all finished all of our exciting weddings that we're celebrating for ourselves and all of our friends. But here's the unfortunate fact: again, 50% of people that we know or in the United States are going to get divorced for one reason or another. And when you have a divorce, it's just terrible. No one wins. It's mentally and physically exhausting, but also it's financially draining. You got legal fees, division of assets, tax implications, debt implications, etc. And the Wall Street Journal wrote a great article this past week about the lessons learned in a divorce. So if you are somebody that is going through a divorce or knows a friend that's going through a divorce, I highly recommend you read this. Because if anything, it might be able to help you just solve situations for yourself, that ex-wife or ex-husband, or that friend going through that same situation. So definitely check it out. Shout out to the Wall Street Journal. That was a great article. All right, we're going to get into the other things that are more maybe social media oriented, because we already hit the top 5 news stories. What's up, Artie? How are you doing, man? So let's get into now 3 particular things I found interesting on social media or webinars that I attended this week. The first one, this one's really cool. This is the secret that all the wealthy really use. Tax-free retirement accounts, life insurance retirement plans, all that stuff. Jim Harbaugh did all this stuff. I've talked to a lot of people about this, but I popped it up on the screen. And again, if you're on Instagram, you're not seeing any of this. But this is what is called a premium finance life insurance plan. That's really used as kind of a retirement account or a long-term account. The only way you qualify for this, you have to have $5 million of net worth, and you have to be willing to put $100,000 a year in premium towards it. Now, how does this really go about? Well, I laid out the process, but again, if you're just listening to me instead of looking at the screen, first you have to establish the need for life insurance for you to even get this. Then once you establish that need, then the client and the life insurance company determines that all right, you've applied, you get in, etc. What's up, Roro? How you doing, girl? And from there, you secure that line of credit or that line of collateral, whether that's the cash surrender value, outside equity, whatever it might be. Once you have that, now you're paying interest into this policy, but the bank is bringing the $100,000 a year, or $500,000 a year, or $1 million a year, whatever you want your premium to be, in order to structure kind of this favorable tax treatment vehicle for you. Now, you just pay the interest on it for however long you want. And while the lender's paying your annual premium, you just have to pay back that interest on that premium that they're giving to you. Then at the end of your death, if you haven't already paid this back, the death benefit amount goes back to the lender. So the lender is made whole, plus all that interest that you'd already been paying during those years. And the residual amount goes on to your beneficiaries net of the loan that you've already paid. So that's what the really, really wealthy do. I figured I'd share that secret because it's pretty damn wild. I've worked with one person on this. They were looking to do $500,000 a year towards something like that. I dream to be able to do that at some point in life. But it is kind of an interesting approach because, again, life insurance is first insurance, then it's a savings vehicle. And with insurance, it's tax-free. So there's some really cool things you can do out there. You don't have to be extremely wealthy to structure something like that. But I wanted to at least share a secret that the wealthy are definitely using today. All right, let's get into another thing. And this one is not as important to me, but I'm sure a lot of people do care about it. Stop the TikTok shutdown. Actually, you know what? I like it. I'm entertained by TikTok, although a lot of people say in America the TikTok algorithm is just making us dumber. Versus like in China, they have it geared towards like educational type elements. But TikTok gave me this blast text yesterday to like, hey, you got to protect our rights as Americans. And I mean, yeah, they're trying to shut down TikTok in America. 170 million people apparently use TikTok. That's interesting. And I mean, I will say Waffles, the Golden, a great a TikTok account to follow. You know, he likes his TikTok account. Waffles is my dog, by the way, for anybody just jumping in there. But it's something that's interesting and something to monitor because really, if something like TikTok were to go away, these other social media platforms, one, they're going to have to play by more stringent rules. It does kind of reduce maybe freedom of speech or constitutional freedom of expression, which would definitely be concerning. So keep your eye out on that because social media is the way that we are able to communicate. Now, does social media sometimes get abused and misused by people all over the damn place? Yes. But I don't think that's the right way to completely just shut off a platform. Curious to hear what your guys' opinion is on that, but that's at least my thought. Now we're going to get into our final one. You guys know I love this guy, Ed Mylett. Dear God, he is passing Tony Robbins quickly as the best performance coach in the world. And if you haven't read his book, Power of One More, love it. I actually have like 20 copies of it because I just give it out to friends and family. But anyhow, what I popped up on the screen, and I think this is really relevant for all of us, is what Ed Mylett always talks about is his dream is at the end of the life is that he meets his twin. And this person is his identical twin. And that person is his best version of himself. And, you know, as our lives come to an end, we'll begin to look back at all of the choices we made. Whether we went on that run today or whether we put in that extra 10 minutes to get this thing done, or we spent more time, quality time with our family and being present in their lives. And what he's really saying is you have to choose to win every second, every minute, every day. Do things right each day. And at the end of your life, you'll be able to become the best version of yourself. You're going to meet that best version of yourself. So it will be your identical twin. Because the last thing you want to do is meet that person at the end of your life and think they're a complete stranger. And that's all of that untapped potential that you could have had that you just never lived up to. So I love Ed Mylett's reinforcement of that message. I've heard him speak on that a lot and thought I'd share it here with you guys. So thank you, Ed. You are the man. Now, I'm going to hit on something that was more personal for me, and I got a lot of feedback on this one. Last week's blog, it was a more personal note for me. I penned an open letter celebrating my dad's birthday. And so it was a big week for the Cosgrove family. I won't disclose my dad's age, but you know, he's older than me. And so, you know, most of us stop celebrating our birthdays when we turn 21 and we can legally drink, or when we turn 25 and we can legally rent a rental car. Or when we get the big zeros or the fives in our life as we get older in the years. So like we stop celebrating for ourselves, but doesn't mean we can't stop celebrating it for others. And in this particular situation, I did want to celebrate my friend, my mentor, my supporter, my fellow Bengals fan and Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. And so I wanted to celebrate my dad's birthday. And as a result of that, I wrote a selfish reflection and celebration of my dad. And so I'll give you kind of the top lines of it. Or actually, I'll read it verbatim for you. So feel free to click out if you don't want to listen to me read about my dad. But it said, "Dear Dad, happy birthday. Today marks not only another year of your life, but also a celebration of the incredible impact you've had on me and our family for the past 35 years. As I sit down to write this letter, my heart overflows with gratitude for the man you are and the role model you've been to me. From my earliest memories, you've always been there for me, offering guidance, support, and unwavering love. Your presence in my life has shaped me in countless ways, teaching me the importance of kindness, integrity, and responsibility. You've shown me what it means to be strong yet compassionate, ambitious yet humble, and I'm endlessly grateful for the values you've instilled in me. Throughout the years, you've worn many hats, father, mentor, friend, and you've excelled in each role with grace and dedication. Your wisdom and guidance have been Your wisdom and guidance have been a guiding light, helping me navigate life's ups and downs with courage and resilience. Whether it was cheering me on from the sidelines of a soccer or basketball game, which you never missed throughout all of high school, taking me to some of my favorite sports teams to watch them play, even when the Bengals were terrible for all those years, or simply lending a listening ear when I needed it most. You've always been there, unwavering in your support, but beyond the practical lessons and advice, it's your presence that has made the biggest impact on me. Your kindness, patience, and unwavering belief in me have given me the confidence to chase my dreams and pursue my passions as I've gone through the years of being an entrepreneur and telling me about my latest idea. You'd always respond back with the comforting response, well, just remember me when you have all the money in the world to buy me an island. You showed me what it means to lead with love and live a life of purpose, and for that, I am eternally grateful. As we celebrate your birthday today, I want you to know how much you mean to me. Google had a commercial a few years ago that emphasized that not all heroes wear capes. I couldn't agree more with it because you are not just my dad, you're my hero, my confidant, and my greatest supporter. I'm so proud to be your son and feel incredibly blessed to have you in my life. On this special day, I hope you take some time to reflect on all the joy and happiness you've brought into the world. You deserve every bit of love and appreciation that comes your way. And I'm honored to be able to celebrate another year of your amazing life. Happy birthday, Dad. Here's to many more years of laughter, love, and unforgettable memories together with our growing family. With all my love, Dan. So anyhow, that was my weekly blog post. And like I said, it was a more personal note because I've been very fortunate to get to have a great family my entire life. My mom and my dad have been fantastic. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for being there. Now, we'll close on a more lighter thing because I know some people thought that was a little bit heavy last week when I wrote it. So let's hit with the dad jokes since I know everybody just loves dad jokes, don't they? And it's for daylight savings time because remember, it's happening this week whether you like it or not. So the first joke is, which relative always chimes in about how daylight savings time should be ended? A grandfather clock. Damn, nailed it. Now, what happens when you try to make a clock spring forward? It gets ticked off. What did the wall clock do after it was adjusted for daylight savings time? It hung around. All right, everyone. Well, hey, that was fun again this week. I will be back sometime next week giving you the top 5 rundown, our top 3 social posts, and our weekly blog posts. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy daylight savings time. Be well. Take care of yourself. And tell whoever you are around that you love them. Be good.